here?
Who's in charge? Who's in charge here?
It's a weekend, there wouldn't be anybody there anyway.
All right, now when did it happen?
Look, I think...
How many people were supposed to be in there at the time?
Well, I don't know. Hey, listen, bring a stretcher over here. There's somebody hurt.
Not there, over here.
Well, what's the hosing?
Look, who's got the cutting gear?
Look, I think George has got the gear.
Look, what are we supposed to be doing?
What the hell is going on here?
Should we tell them?
No, I don't think umpires should make suggestions.
That couldn't happen to you? I wonder. This was supposed to have been a training exercise. Unfortunately, because of a lack of planning, the exercise we've just seen would have been chaotic. The value of conducting well-planned exercises can't be overstressed. They provide an excellent test of training and also stimulate interest. To be effective, exercises, no matter how small scale, require a great deal of careful and detailed preparation. This film is designed to show you how to prepare and conduct an effective exercise. Basically, there are two types of training exercise. The discussion exercise, where the participants are required to consider various problems and then present and discuss their solution with a directing staff member as well as other participants. Then there is the practical exercise, such as the one we saw at the beginning of this film, where the participants are required to carry out some form of practical activity. Whilst many of the requirements for both types of exercise are the same, this film concentrates on the practical exercise. So we shall look at the practical exercise and see whether the fellows we met earlier can't make a better job of it. Furthermore, we shall be looking at an emergency services exercise, but don't be put off by that. Whoever or whatever your organisation, the principles behind an effective exercise remain the same. Now, this is the Emergency Operations Centre in Manton. The local disaster plan has been written, and training to that plan has been in effect for some time. The local disaster committee have decided that the time is right to conduct a series of exercises to test the training which has taken place and the general state of readiness of Manton's emergency services. The committee has selected Jack Greenwood as the exercise director. This selection must be carefully made as the overall task of planning and preparation rests with him because of his extensive experience in conducting many similar types of multi-organisation exercises in the past. Jack's first task is to appoint an exercise planning committee.
Well, gentlemen, I think the first job before we get down to the details is to get to know everyone. I don't think you two have met, have you? Adrian, this is Ken.
The committee's first task is to clearly define the aim of the exercise.
The aim of the exercise is to test the command and coordination, rescue, firefighting and casualty handling aspects of the local disaster plan.
This is a demolition site in the town which lends itself as a perfect setting for the exercise. Having inspected and agreed on the exercise site, the next step is to commence writing the exercise papers. And make no mistake, the paperwork, the preparation, requires far more work than the actual physical exercise. So prepare carefully. Our committee has established a timetable. It's advisable to give yourselves a good 3 weeks leading up to the exercise. So set the date and work out a timetable leading up to D-Day, exercise day.
So, gentlemen, having looked at the location for exercise ever ready and worked out our basic plan, we should aim to complete writing the exercise papers by D-Day -13.
These instructions hold the key to your success. Once you've finalised them, present them professionally. They'll be put to considerable use. Your exercise instructions include a number of white pages. First, the general instructions, exercise ever ready. General instructions cover references, the date, duration and location of the exercise, aim and objectives, the scope, the organisation, groups and individuals taking part. There'll be a variety of other items depending on the individual exercise. It's a lengthy list, but an essential one. Finally, the general instructions will list the exercise director, safety officer and the umpires, competent onlookers who will view the exercise and later comment on its conduct. These blue pages cover special instructions and are issued only to certain exercise participants, such as those acting as casualties. And pink pages, notes for the eyes of umpires and directing staff only. More about them later. In the exercise instructions, there will be a narrative. The narrative sets the scene for exercise participants, like this.
Gentlemen, this is the narrative. It is 10:15 on a normal Friday morning at the Brown Brothers General Store in Wilson Street. It's a busy Friday as usual, and people from outlying areas are stocking up for the weekend. Over the past several weeks, the premises next door have been demolished to make way for a used car yard. At 10:17 a.m., without warning, the first floor of the Brown Brothers building collapses onto the floor below amid a cloud of dust. It is now 10:20 a.m. The local police station receives a call advising of the building collapse.
Well, there you are. Concise, yet sufficiently detailed to build a depict circumstances surrounding the exercise, making it as easy as possible for the participants. So a well-written narrative makes for a realistic exercise. And there well may be more than one. You may hand out additional narratives during an exercise to bring in a change of circumstance, involving new problems or dangers. Now, with your exercise instructions prepared and in print, umpires should be fully briefed. The pink pages of the exercise instructions will give umpires some information, but show them maps, plans, even models to ensure that they'll know all there is to know about the exercise. Give your umpires every opportunity to study the exercise site closely. Then, some 3 days before D-Day, distribute appropriate copies of your instruction to each exercise participant to allow them to read and absorb every detail. Finally, as close as possible to D-Day, get your people together for a detailed briefing. It's now D-Day -1. Tomorrow is the big day. But before we see exercise ever ready in operation, let's just run back over the planning sequence which led up to D-Day. Establish the type of exercise, the aim and objectives, then determine a timetable and commence preparing exercise instructions which will include the narrative and general instructions on white paper, special instructions on blue paper, and the pink pages not for general distribution. Their notes for the umpires and directing staff. Last of all, distribute your exercise instructions to all participants and hold one final briefing. Well then, the exercise preparation has been completed. Well, not quite. Remember to ensure that exercise stores, equipment, and logistic support have been organised. Join me in a moment as we see how our participants fare when they put theory into practice.
It's right on 10:20 on a sunny Saturday morning in Manton, and we can expect the weather to remain fine throughout the weekend. So why don't you settle back, put the feet up, open up the pennies...
Emergency Operations Centre.
Country music.
Right. Yes, police received the call at 10:20. Brown store in Wilson Street's collapsed, and the police require SES rescue assistance. Fine. Yes, I've got that.
Now this is the situation. There are some 8 persons trapped in this building. The ambulance and fire brigade have arrived.
Basis of 6, I've arrived at Brown Brothers store, received a briefing from the police. I'll conduct a quick reconnaissance and report back to you. Over.
Roger, base out.
Well, here we are at the exercise site. Looks pretty realistic, doesn't it? The people who prepared the site have gone to a great deal of trouble, and that's good. The more realism, the better. This is the scene that the police on-site commander is now studying and assessing. And on the sidelines, the umpires, studying and assessing the commander and his men. Bad umpiring can ruin the best planned exercise, so umpires must be chosen with care. They should be more experienced and more competent than the participants. Umpires observe, but unless their notes or dangerous situations require them to do so, they do nothing to interfere with the conduct of the exercise. They ensure that accidents and incorrect actions are avoided and that the exercise timetable is adhered to. Umpires can, if they wish, bring an exercise to a halt if they feel that matters are getting out of hand, and they can reprimand participants whom they feel are negligent or careless. Now let's see what the commander is up to. His first task is to brief his men, then to make a detailed reconnaissance.
From what I can gather from bystanders, there were at least 5 staff and half a dozen customers in the shop. The rescue team is deployed. The fire and ambulance are standing by.
Roger, brace out.
Got him.
For this type of exercise, where there's an element of danger, dummies should be used to represent casualties. A tag describes the nature of the injuries to the first aid personnel.
There are several people trapped under the rubble. I expect there will be several severely injured people there. I've arranged for another ambulance, as one will not be sufficient. I've received a report from a rescue leader. There are a number of people trapped under beams. Can you assist with heavy-duty lifting gear? Over.
Roger, anything further? Over.
There is one small fire, but that's under control.
Roger, brace out.
This was perhaps a problem there that the hose was put in.
I told you earlier about the umpire's notes. Ideally, they should look something like this. Each event during the exercise is given a serial number, as you can see. Here, the time each event is to occur. The umpires will watch this timetable with care. Here, the event. And in the last column, special remarks such as points the umpire is to watch for. In this case, the leader's briefing. Good. So the briefing was carried out to the umpire's satisfaction. And location of equipment. This umpire has made a note here, fire hose in place liable to be cut. As you can see, the firefighters have trailed their hose under this pile of rubble, which could tumble down and cut the hose. That could be disastrous if another fire were to break out elsewhere. Other equipment seems to have been logically and strategically placed ready for use. So the umpires are watching each and every step the participants take. That last column on the umpire's notes allows for trigger action, something which will trigger a special, unexpected turn of events. In this case, an umpire displays a flag. Another umpire, knowing of the trigger action, now reacts.
Gas! I smell gas!
In this case, the exercise planners have introduced a gas leak, and it's now up to the commander to deal with the problem. He'll probably have to contact the local gas authorities for assistance. It's going to be a long day for the exercise participants, so the welfare unit will be kept busy providing food and refreshments.
Sierra Romeo to base. Sierra Romeo to base. This particular exercise is in the last stage. It's about to conclude and we'll be leaving here shortly. Over.
Roger, brace out.
It's of the utmost importance that every exercise be followed as soon as possible by a detailed debriefing to identify mistakes and ensure that corrective action is taken. The debrief should be kept short and drive home the more important lessons. Identify the mistakes and learn from them. That way you shouldn't make the same mistakes again next exercise or during the real thing. Think you're ready to conduct your own exercise now? Let's just recap on the conduct of an exercise. Umpires observe the exercise, ensuring safety is observed. They note mistakes or delays, but only comment or interfere if it's absolutely necessary. And well-drawn-up umpires' notes are essential. It's important that control of the exercise be maintained at all times and at all levels. This is achieved by effective briefings and detailed umpires' notes. Communications must be established and maintained with all necessary exercise units and with your operations centre or control, and even further afield if the scope of your exercise warrants it. And identify your mistakes with a debriefing. Well, there you have it. To be successful, to be rewarding, exercises must be well planned. This film has only been a guide. Now it's up to you. Remember, good preparation and planning will produce an effective exercise.